Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to use the extreme SNB strategy. Now this is our most powerful strategy that will make you the most money when it comes to trading fundamental analysis. Okay, so now we can get started. Alright, so the extreme SNB strategy is similar to the mount in that you need two accounts or two MetaTrader 4 platforms. So I'm going to assume we've got the normal MT4 and we have the MT4 in geospace. Then we're also working with Hotforex and Traders Way. Now if we've got $100 overall to invest, we're supposed to split that 50-50 between the two accounts that we have here. So we are going to deposit $50 in Hotforex and the remaining $50 in Traders Way. Now for the extreme, we calculate the lot size differently. What we're going to be using to calculate the lot size is the FX calculator, the Forex calculator that you had downloaded. Now I'm just going to pull up the Forex calculator here and I'm going to show you how to calculate the lot size for the extreme. Actually, you calculate the lot size the same way as you did for the easy SNB. So you open your Forex calculator, go to margin. Then we're going to assume we're trading Euro USD, so I'm going to stick with this currency pair here. Then our leverage, the leverage for whole Forex and Traders Way, that's 1 to 1,000, so I'm going to stick to that. Then I'm going to start with the base, which is 100,000. Then I'm going to calculate. So when it comes to the Forex calculator, our goal is to match the required margin with our account balance here. So I'm supposed to come up with a number here, a position size that will give us exactly $50 here. Like I said, don't worry about the decimal places. So I'm going to click on calculate. Then this is the number that we're given here. Now obviously 112 is far greater than $50, so we're going to reduce the position size maybe to 45,000. This is now a trial and error thing. So as you can see, 45,000 gives us exactly $50 here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to convert 45,000 units to lot sizes. How we do that is by comparing against the base, which will be if one lot is equivalent to 100,000 units, X lots is equivalent to 45,000, which are just from calculating. Then we're going to cross multiply. Then X will be 0.45. I hope you guys do remember cross multiplication from high school. So yeah, X will be equivalent to 0.45 lots. Now due to the stop out level, this won't be possible. So what we have to do is we have to use a portion of this lot here, 0.45 lots. For a leverage of 1 to 1,000, we're going to be using 60% of that. 60%. For a leverage of 1 to 3,000, we're going to be using 40% to 45%. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so this is what we're going to be using, 60%. So I'm going to multiply our 0.45 lots by 60 over 100, which will give us what? Let's just pull it up. Okay, so I'm going to calculate. So I'm going to multiply 0.45 by 60, then divide it by 100, and that gives us 0.27 lots. Okay, so this is how we calculate our lot size. So this is the lot size that we're going to use for both accounts. So if we go back to our information here, in Hotforex we're going to be trading with 0.27 lots, and in Traders Way we're going to be trading with 0.27 lots. Okay, so in one account we're going to be buying, while the other side we're going to be selling. Now when it comes to this, in Hotforex you could either sell, or in Traders Way you could buy. It could be vice versa, as long as these two here, they're opposite. They should always be opposite. So I'm just going to take note of that. Opposite. They're always supposed to be opposite. If they're the same order, it's going to be impossible for you to make money if price reverses. Okay, so this is how we are going to carry out the easy SNB strategy. So in the normal MT4, while there's Hotforex, we're going to be buying, and while there's Traders Way, we're going to be selling. So for this one, what we do is we don't use any stop losses or take profits. So don't use any take profits, any stop losses. What we're going to be using are market execution for both accounts. Okay, for some brokers it's going to say instant. So what we're going to be using is market execution or instant, depending on the broker that you have. Now the difference between market execution and instant is that for market execution, your orders are all placed at once. So for example, if there's two people who want to place a trade, both the orders will be placed at once. But for instant execution, they'll be placed one at a time. So the person who placed the order first is going to have their order placed first, then followed by you. Now that process causes your trades to be delayed a bit. So you should always go for brokers that offer market execution. It's always an option when you're creating an account. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're now going to go to our MetaTrader 4. So we're going to open MetaTrader 4, our normal one, and we're going to open the one in Geospace. Then we're going to keep them side by side, so that in one account to sell, in the other one to buy, and to be easy for us to switch between the applications when placing and closing trades. Okay, so like I said, we're going to assume we're trading Euro USD. So we're going to click on Euro USD, then new order. Okay, so instant execution, that's what we're going to be using. Then we're going to enter our lot size of 0.2. What's our lot size? 0.27. Then after I've entered our lot size, we can now directly buy or sell. If in the normal MetaTrader 4 application we sell, in the MetaTrader 4 for Geospace we're going to buy with the same lot size here and the same type of execution, which is instant or market. So in here we're going to be selling. Then after we sell, we're going to directly go to the other MetaTrader 4 and we're going to buy. Now all this is supposed to be done 2 minutes before the event. 2 minutes before the event. So if the event is at 16 hours, at 15:58, we're going to start buying and we're going to start selling. So with approximately 1 minute to buy in one account, in another minute to sell in the other account. Now when the trade happens and you see here you've lost all your money, your balance goes to 0, I want you to quickly switch to the other side, to the other MT4. Then there obviously you are going to see profit here. And the moment you switch to that application, to the other application, I want you to close it. How you close it is, like I said, you swipe it to the left, then click on the circle with the check inside, then close with profit. Here it's in a loss because of the spread, but when it's in a profit, to say close with profit, so just click on that, then your trade will be closed. Okay, so this is how we use the extreme SNB strategy. But one more thing, if in here we sold and price had gone up, this is what would have made the profit. Now when you're supposed to close in such a situation is the moment it turns blue from red. So the moment you see blue here, I want you to close it immediately. Don't wait for anything. Don't be greedy. Otherwise, if price reverses on you, you end up losing all your money. Okay, so the moment it turns blue, I want you to close that trade. And don't worry about the other side. You're going to lose money, but the profit that you make here is going to recover the amount that you lost in the other MetaTrader 4. So yeah, this is how we use the extreme SNB strategy. Now I'm going to be showing you how to use the extreme SNB strategy using a computer. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open Traders Way and Hotforex on PC. So we're going to have them side by side. Then we're assuming we've linked both our accounts in both MetaTrader 4. So in Hotforex, we'll be linking our live accounts to Hotforex, and in Traders Way, we're going to be leaving our live account in Traders Way. Now, assuming you had deposited $50 in each, so 50 in Hotforex, 50 in Traders Way, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be buying in one account and we're going to be selling the other side. Now, we're assuming we're trading Euro USD, so that's the chart that we're going to be working with. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So we're going to start with Hotforex. So Hotforex, what we're going to be doing is we're going to click on new order here. New order. Just wait for that to load. Then here on volume, that's how we're going to put our lot size of 0.27. Then on type here, we're going to stick to market execution. Then in Hotforex, we're going to be buying. So we're going to click buy by market. I'm going to click on that. Then you see here your trade will be active here on trade here. Then after doing that, we're quickly going to go to Traders Way and we're going to click on new order. Then on volume, we're going to put our lot size of 0.27, but except this time we're going to be selling. So we're going to click this red button that says sell by market. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. So when the event happens, and let's say in Traders Way, that's why the profit is going to appear. So here where there's a negative, you're going to see it turn positive. And on the chart, you're going to see the candlestick move. So the moment it turns positive from negative, I want you to click on the X here. Now this X allows you to close the trade with one click only. So actually, when you're trading like this on a computer, it's actually quite faster for you to close the trade. So just click on the X to close the trade. Then don't worry about the other side. The other side is going to be blown. But the profit that you had made in Traders Way would have recovered the amount that you had lost, plus much more on top. Now the good thing about Extreme is that the only thing that limits you is how far price moves. So in Hotforex, let's say you had lost all your money, you had gone to zero. On the other side, you'd have gained even up to 1,000%, 1,000% more. So this is how it's different from the MAUD. For the MAUD, what happens is you lose 50% on one side, then on the other side you gain 100%. Now for the extreme, you lose everything in one account, but gain significantly more in the other side. So like this, it allows you to make way more money than the MAUD, and is much more profitable as well, and it's less overwhelming. There's less steps. So this one is supposed to be done 2 minutes before, which is the extreme. Then for the MAUD, 3 minutes before the event. Okay, so this is how we use the extreme SNB strategy for PC. We open the MetaTrader 4 side by side. One account we buy, the other side we sell.